Is anybody glad it's November 6th?
Yeah.
I was in a bit of a rush. I have to apologize. It always seems like the last minute is when everything happens, right? So I didn't bring a laptop up. I don't have a presentation for you. You'll have to let me read off my notes, and if you'd like, I can show you my notes periodically. I am the regional administrator for the Lewiston Regional Office of the Idaho DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality. And we're downtown Lewiston, right next to City Hall, in what most folks down in Lewiston call the SOB building, which is the state office building. Our office assists with Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, solid waste, hazardous materials, drinking water, and wastewater. And we issue permits for discharges to the environment, and we monitor the health of the environment and the environmental resources, and we provide grants and loans for restoration projects as well as wastewater and drinking water infrastructure improvements. We provide assistance to the 5 north central Idaho counties, Latah County, Clearwater County, Lewis, Nez Perce, and Idaho County. So we're here today to talk a little bit about wood smoke and wood stoves. Click. So we know that industrial smoke can be polluting. We should also know that wood smoke can be polluting too, whether it's from wildfires or from wood stoves. And although it provides a great, wonderful ambiance, it also is, the smoke is a mix of gases, liquids, solids, and of course in high concentrations, it's pollution. We track the concentration of solid particles in the wood smoke as PM 2.5, particulate matter of 2.5 microns per diameter. Our data can be viewed on our website. If you'd like to go to our website, you could easily Google DEQ. I can show you the address, but when we look at a PM 2.5, it's an extremely small particle. And when it gets inhaled into your lungs, it's very hard for it to come back out. That's kind of a threshold where people aren't able to expel those small particles. Usually you could take a PM10 and you can line up 4 or 5 PM10s to the width or diameter of a human hair. So we're talking about a 2.5, which would be 5 or 6 of those, which would make up 1 PM10, and 5 of them would make up a human hair. So you're talking about some very, very fine, small particles. And of course, the risk population is for little kids, folks that might have breathing issues, bronchitis. Once these PM 2.5 particles get into your lungs, it's very difficult for them to come out and can cause a significant health problem. So I did have some graphs to show you what we find as we do our monitoring and measuring. And typically, we can track most obvious is wildfires and sometimes prescribed fires. And the typical PM 2.5 measurements that we take are around 5 microns per cubic meter. And we do that with basically, if you think about a coffee filter over the top of a vacuum. The meter that we use for Moscow is out here at the University Farm next to the Elks Golf Course east of town. And it's basically, in unscientific terms, a coffee filter over the top of a vacuum cleaner. And we suck air into that. We use that filter, we count the particulates, and basically over time, we can find that in our north central 5 counties, we're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of about 5 microns per cubic meter. Now, the National Ambient Air Quality Standard for PM 2.5 is 12. Moscow actually is the lowest that we find in our region, sitting just below 5. Lewiston actually comes up a little heavier, around 7. A lot of what we find, and if you think about it, it makes pretty good sense, is that we have a lot of canyons in our area. And that's what happens to the smoke. The smoke goes and finds those low elevation canyons, and so we can actually have fires, wildfires, prescribed fires, even crop residue fires up on the prairies, and it won't cause that much of a problem, but once that smoke gets into the canyons, it settles down into the canyons, and it's basically just like an inversion. Yes, ma'am?
I'm not clear on what exactly you're measuring. So are you measuring particulates that are 2.5 microns or less?
Yes,
And how many of those per cubic meter?
correct.
Okay. So that's what's, when you've got that filter and the vacuum, it's the number of 2.5 or less particles that are trapped by that.
Right.
That filter.
Exactly.
Or go through the filter?
And, I'm sorry?
Or that are trapped by, or doesn't matter, but you're measuring.
Yeah, they actually, I'm getting close to the end of my career. I'm the regional administrator now. We have a large number of staff. Our air quality staff all happen to be busy today, which is why I got elected to come and talk with you. My background is more hydrology and water quality, but to that point, our air quality staff, they actually will freeze those filters. Those filters, when they take those filters off of the meters, they'll go directly into a refrigeration unit and they freeze them. And I'm not exactly sure if the lab analysis is while that filter is still frozen, or how they prepare. I'm not sure how that's exactly prepared before they do take that count, but I'm pretty confident that it's based on measurements of the weight. So you'll have a weight of the filter prior, and then you'll have a weight of the filter after. And then you calculate particles based on the weight of the difference in the filter. Yes, ma'am?
If those particles are so small, those masks that people wear do no good?
Well, you'll notice that those masks are rated. If you look at the masks, some masks will be rated different than others. Some masks will actually take some of the gas, like, not gas, but for example, the paints that the automotive folks use. You know, when they're spraying that paint, there's some of those masks that will take, that'll go down to the particulate level of those types of VOC gases. And so it all depends on the mask.
I think my understanding is that you'll see masks that say like P95, P99, and P100, and those are an increasing efficiency in filtering out the smaller particles.
Correct. And I think that the slide that I had that showed the hair and the PM 2.5 and PM 10, if I recall correctly, it's the fine sand grains that reach that 75 to 90 micrograms per meter squared. It would be like a fine sand grain. Maybe if you're sandblasting or something like that. I did have another fleeting thought. Oh, I thought I had strep throat last week, and went to the doctor, and they had masks there. You know, when you go to check in, if you're coughing or whatever, you wear the different masks. And I noticed that that mask was actually allowing a higher or a larger diameter particulate than the one that I had at work. So the one that I had at work, for example, if we go to an industrial facility like if we go to Clearwater Paper or something like that, we have some paper masks that we put on. And I noticed that the one at the doctor's office actually was not as fine as the one that we